Hey everyone, today we are ranking the 25 official Ark Nova maps from weakest to strongest. There's no mathematical formula behind this, I'm just sort of doing this from my own opinion or my own vibes on it. But I have a lot of experience playing on most of the maps. So this is going to include the base game maps, the alternative maps which are BGA exclusive, as far as I know. It's also going to feature Map Pack 1 and Map Pack 2. So Map Pack 2, I have very little experience playing with them. I think I've played all the maps a couple of times each, maybe. Everything else I've played a lot. This video will probably not have too much educational content, but it's just fun. So starting off, the weakest map is actually not the weakest map in my opinion. I did ask in the Emu Cup Discord what people considered to be the weakest map out of a few options. This would have been my second weakest, but okay. The community voted for Hollywood Hills, the original Hollywood Hills. Hello, Glitter. I agree it's pretty weak. This would be my second weakest. So why is it weak? The map has a couple of problems. There's a lot of luck behind what you get from the H's that can really make or break your game. If you miss with these sponsor draws, you're in for a pretty bad time. Think of all the times you've hit something like an Okapi stable or free range monkeys or sponsorship primates or something that you just don't need while your opponent. Well, it's okay. It's not even map. It's not even the same map. Just if you miss out on these, this is where most of the map strength comes from. But the problem with the base Hollywood Hills is the separation of rock and water is a bit of an issue. You typically want to cover your rock spaces first, and then later in the game, there's no rock left. When you get that eagle or something, you don't have space for an aviary touching rock, or you don't have just sort of those enclosures available to play any rock animals later. Hello, Cow. Hello, JD. Sure, it's a bit of skill issue, but it is something that they got fixed up with the alternative Hollywood Hills. But yeah, just whenever I do play the base game maps, it always feels bad not having this little rock up here. In terms of map rewards, it's okay. I mean, 3x tokens, 5 money, card draw rep, it's all decent stuff. Unique map reward of partner zoos can be okay. A lot of the times I feel like because it's Hollywood Hills, you want to upgrade sponsors, and then you probably don't upgrade association. That means there are quite a few games where you just never take the handshake here. It's also got a split reward of 1 CP for partner zoo, 1 for uni, 1 for worker, which is probably the worst combination. Because it's very rare that you fill up all 7 of these and get all the workers. But anyway, on to the second weakest. Or as I would like to say, the weakest. I'm not going to go too much into the map details. Drawing board. This is from the expansion pack number 2. And yeah, this is, for me, by far the weakest. It's got so many problems. I think it's a very fun design. In terms of strength, I don't rate it at all. So let's look at one unique thing. Well, okay, first I guess the point of the map is you fill in these little quarters or sections. When you completely fill them in, you get an instant reward and that reward as an income from now on. So this top part, you completely cover that. You get 3 money instantly, and you also get 3 money income. That sounds pretty good. The problem is it's not that easy to fill them in. It takes 2 full build actions. Later in the game, do you really want to be covering this to get 3 money and 3 income? No. The rep... It's sort of flexible, like, you can cover the rep early enough, I guess, but... I guess the second big issue with it is you're sort of incentivized to upgrade build on it, but you don't get any appeal for completely filling the map. So that's a huge negative. Without build, you can fill in 3 sections, but it's incredibly difficult to, building one thing at a time. Yeah, JD's pointing out the third weakness. Well, it's kind of cute that you start with the 2 size already placed in the middle. That can be useful. But there's no 2 size income reward here. So that's a huge negative if you are planning on not upgrading build. How do you get all your enclosures? And then if you are upgrading build, you lose a whole point of the reason to upgrade build, which is map fill bonus. The second reward is, instead of the size 2, it's an ongoing cut down ability, which means you can cut down any empty enclosure and get 2 money back per size that it was. So if you cut down a 2 size, you get 4 money back. The problem is you're just not going to have that many excess enclosures without 2 size bonus reward. So I will say it's probably a little bit better with the Marine World expansion. If you can get some sea animals, then you're less reliant on those 2 size enclosures, but still feels like a really bad thing to play without. The unique bonus of adapt, just draw and discard 3 endgames. Some games it's going to be useful, some games it's going to be completely dead when you start with Conservation Zoo, so it might not have any effect. And yeah, it just feels kind of cramped. I guess there is a decent amount of space for large enclosures, but I don't know, it doesn't feel great to play. I have played it before. The problem starts to become when you place a sponsor building or 2, your space becomes really constricted, really tight. So I think it's the weakest map, but it's good enough being second. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think build upgrade is required, and maybe you want to aim to fill in this appeal first. That could be worth it. 2 appeal as an income is pretty good. Third weakest, number 23, Observation Tower. Original Observation Tower. I'm not going to spoil anything, Luke. Whenever I look at this, I get a sense of like nostalgia, and in a bad way, a feeling of dread. Because it's a problem that a lot of the old maps had, which is separation of rock and water. You typically want to start next to the rocks to touch the tower and get the bonus appeal. And then late game, how do you play anything with rock requirement? But the more annoying thing is, how do you start the game with any water animals? It's just really annoying. If you want to start with a water animal, you have to miss out on the extra appeal, which is nice early. That cap. So yeah, the big problem is no water next to the tower. That's something that also gets fixed up in the alternative version. I think also the 2 CP for 4th partner zoo is a pretty big negative, I would say. I find I would prefer in maps you get 2 CP from the last worker. That's the easiest to hit. Then I also like 2 CP from last uni because it doesn't require a SOS upgrade and it's also easier to hit. But 4 partner zoos is, you don't always have time for that. So I don't know, that's the negative. However, I really do like the map ability of the extra 2 appeal. That's very strong, and also like the unique reward of playing a sponsor for money. I think that's also really strong. But just the map layout is pretty problematic. And everything seems so far away. There's sort of a split in the middle. So it is a bit of a rich map. You can get 5 money, 5 money. Another annoying thing is no card draw spot on the edge of the map unless you start right at the top here, which is problematic in itself. So then you're so far away from the tower. I think it just has a lot of issues, even though I do like the abilities of it. Fourth weakest, we have, my most hated, yeah, I think it is my most hated map, Geographical Zoo from our map expansion pack 1. Look at this monstrosity of color. It just feels so out of place when you look at this compared to every other map because it's so colorful. But then just aside from a like strategic standpoint, the colors don't really work out because you play something like a spotted hyena compound in Africa and it just blends in. You can't tell what spaces are covered and which aren't. That's annoying. And personal pet peeve, if you want to start with an alpine ibex in Europe, you can't because there's no double rock in Europe. That's a huge design flaw, I think. But aside from that, the power of it's not too bad. I mean, when you play a matching continent icon into the continent zone for the first time, you get to remove a cube and you get stuff like you can either take a reputation or two appeal or a kiosk or pavilion or money or clever. Those are all very useful. It does sort of force you into diversifying. You kind of want to play every different continent here, which can be okay in some games, and then some games you just want to pump out like 10 Asia animals with your expert on Asia, and you get sort of punished if you want to do that because you don't get the main benefit of the map. It's also got the problem of 2 CP on the 4th partner zoo, no CP for last worker, so same as observation tower, and the layout of the map feels kind of bad. I mean, you got play responsive money marketing stuck in the corner up here, which is pretty hard to get to. Then it's also got a bit of a rock problem. It's pretty hard to fit cable car and then other rock animals in here because all the rocks are on the edge of the map. But it is a great map for hydrologists that gives you a ton of money if you get that. True, there's also no reputation on the floor of the map because it's sort of built into the map ability. Having said that, the unique map reward of removing a cube can be a good way for a good thing for a final cross. Gives you like an extra 5 points basically if you can do that on your last turn. Otherwise, I'm always pretty underwhelmed when I play it. 28 money Hydro, yep. It's something ridiculous like that. It's one of the highest. Alright, 21st weakest map. Original Park Restaurant. It is one of my favorite maps. It's not that strong, I don't think. To be honest, I've got a bit of a backlash placing it this low, but I don't really see what I could put it above, so I don't know. I do like it because it feels nice and cozy. You sort of want to work in the middle and then everything's like all nice and connected together. Just feels nice hugging the park restaurant, getting extra income. From the original one, I do like a couple of things, particularly being able to start with a petting zoo over the 1 reputation and card draw. It means you can take stuff from folder 2 instantly. Also, something like a petting zoo over the player sponsor for money. That's something they've removed from the alternative park restaurant. The marketing spot's a bit more further away from the edge of the map. But I think the absolute worst thing about Old Park Restaurant is the upgraded build spots. These are just in nightmare places. It's kind of a map that wants you to not upgrade build because you have a free aviary or reptile house reward as its unique project reward. But then it hits you with these build 2 spaces in the worst spot. Like, this is where you want to build a 5 size. This is where you want to build a 5 size. This is just sort of blocking your path to this 5 size a little bit. So if you don't upgrade build, you really don't have a lot of room. And if you do upgrade build, you don't necessarily need this reward, even though it's still pretty decent to get. Otherwise, the extra money is nice. It's got some good card draw spots. Just doesn't feel that good. It's the same problem as well. 2 CP on the 4th partner zoo. At least this one you get 1 CP for last worker. Yeah, it is. It's actually funny how just changing these locations around made Park Restaurant one of the best non-upgrading build maps, which we'll see a bit later on. Alright, the 20th. Another one from Map Pack 2. I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but it's artificial intelligence or AI. This one, I don't understand the hype behind it. So many people think it's really good. I just don't see it at all. So what's the point of AI? You have these little notepad books, I don't know what you call them. These little black spots on the map, when you cover them, so the first one you cover, you put it over your action card 1. What that means is anything you do in as an action 1 is now an action 2 strength. So congratulations, you can now get 2 reputation with your association 1 action. Pointless, but it becomes more interesting as you fill in more books. Smart screen, yeah, something like a tablet or something, I don't know. When you get 2 of them, it means your actions in 1 and 2 become strength 3. Now that's a little more interesting. I guess with upgraded cards, you can snap stuff from cards at 1 or 2. Still not that useful. When you get the 4th and the 5th one, which are hidden behind 2nd uni and 3rd worker, then your things in strength 4 and 5 become strength 6. Which has some uses, like you imagine if you upgrade association, it makes it easier to do a project and get a partner zoo or something like that. Saves you an X token every time. Strength 6 sponsors, much easier to play multiple sponsors. So it does have some use cases. That should be coming fairly sort of middle to late of the game. It requires a bit of commitment just to hit the 2 from the map. 2nd uni's not that hard. Although it's another interesting thing because you're sort of discouraged from getting 2 universities straight away. Because your first upgrade is locked behind university and partner zoo, combination of those. And same with your second. You want 2 unis and 2 partner zoos to get the second upgrade. And then same problem, I keep saying it, but 2 CP behind 4th partner zoo. And yeah, CP for last worker. I think the most interesting thing about the map is the animal magnet project reward. I think this is actually very useful. It's just like sponsor magnet, it lets you take all the animals from the display. It has a bit of risk behind it in that if you take 5 or 6 animals, you could be revealing anything for your opponent on their turn. But I think there's also just a lot of times where you want a whole chunk of cards in your hand, and this can be pretty useful. Particularly if you have a sunbathing animal or you have something like Export in Australia and you just want to keep pouching stuff, this could give you an easy 4 or 5 cards. Isn't the split a huge benefit? I'm not sure the split is a benefit at all. Because when I think about I want to start with 2 universities, I like getting the reputation from both universities to get the upgrade on 5 rep. And then if I have to split between 1 uni and 1 partner zoo, I'm sort of in reputation hell. I don't have enough rep for another upgrade. Like it obviously can be useful if you start with a breeding program or something. Get the 2 rep from that, get the science 2 rep uni, that gets you 2 upgrades. I don't think it's a huge benefit though. Maybe in Marine World it is better when you're taking an animal university anyway and the rep doesn't matter. Still not sure. In terms of rewards on the map, it's not too bad. This adapt 1 could be useful and could be dead. 1 is sort of, I don't know, kind of useless. It does have 2 clevers, reputation, 5 money. I'm not even sure where you want to start on this map because I'd be tempted to start over the money most of the time. I don't know how much I'd rush to get these folders or books. In terms of map layout, the map layout doesn't seem that bad. I don't have much experience playing on it, but the upgraded build spots look kind of annoying, but there also looks like there's enough room for large enclosures. Yeah, it's very open. I think you won't have trouble finding spots to play all of your animals. So that's the plus. That's about the only plus I can find from this map. On to number 19, we have our first alternative map, Hollywood Hills 8A. So it looks very similar, except they just replaced a water up here and the rock here. They switched them around, and that makes a huge difference, to be honest. Just having this rock up here is nice. I find a lot of the time, I also like that you can pretty much start anywhere. So a lot of the time you start over the card draw and the H spot, but if you want the rep, it's also very viable to start in the top right. If you want the money, it's viable to start on the top left. If you have something like a cable car, it's viable to start on the left. If you have an ibex, it's viable to start at just the bottom center. The big improvement and why it's rated so much higher than the original Hollywood Hills is the map bonuses. This has 2 reputation on the floor now, so that's actually a pretty big deal. It allows you to get the 5 rep upgrade much easier. It allows you to get the 8 rep worker much easier. And that's pretty important because on Hollywood Hills, you probably want to stay in rounds for a long time. Just with all these access to more sponsors. You want to be playing sponsors instead of breaking, so this allows you to get another worker to stay in the round longer. I think that's all pretty positive, but still suffers the same issue of these H's are so sort of impactful on your game, and it can really make or break if you hit bad ones. But not too much else to say. I think we pretty much covered it with the original. This is just a slight improvement. And kind of similar with Alternative Park Restaurant. I think it's a lot better. I still don't think it's that good. But I like the layout of this a lot better. You can see they moved all the build to upgrade spots onto the edges of the map. This makes it so open, you can easily play this without upgrading build. You have a nice reptile house spot up in the top right. You have a good aviary spot in the bottom right. Also a good Amazon house spot up here, which I use a lot. But it also feels good. Typically, you start at the top for the X token and the extra income, or you start at the bottom for the card draw, maybe the 5 money. And yeah, the unique reward's still good, but this is sort of going with the meta of not upgrading build at the moment, or at least my meta. So it is a map that I don't mind playing on, because I can pretty much always get away with not upgrading build on it. And yeah, surrounding the restaurant for extra income can be very useful. The 5 income does add up. Absolutely no way. What's no way? I was looking at the rankings. See, this is what a lot of people are saying. Like, Park Restaurant seems so low. This is what a couple of other people I showed my list to before the stream said. The Park Restaurant is so low, but I really don't see what I'm going to put below it. And you can have a look at the full list when we're done. Next up, we have Caves, and so another map pack 2 expansion pack. Sorry for the lower quality on these ones. I think this is the hardest one to judge. I think I've only played it once. And it just really changes the way you play, so I might not have the best read on this. I feel like it's okay, but I also feel like it's hard to justify putting it above anything else on the list. Yeah, the map pack 2 will come to BGA. A lot of the work's already been done on implementing it. That's how I've played these games. At the same time, Marine World was coming into alpha. These map packs were getting tested as well, but they were put on the sort of put on hold for now. So I don't know a time frame. But essentially with Caves, what you want to be doing is storing cards. You cover these spots, you store a card under your board. And when you have a card stored, you get 2 income per card stored, up to a max of 3. That's really interesting, because 2 income is a decent amount, and it's not hard to do. But these cards are also just... They basically... extra cards outside of your hand size, so it makes you much more less likely to discard cards during a break. Kind of money pouching. The thing is that you can also retrieve these cards at any time. Even in the glossary it says you can even do it during an opponent's turn if they decide to pilfer you or something. So I don't know, you can pick up this random card and give them a card randomly. I don't know why you would do that, but yeah, exactly. You can put your elephants and eagles there for later. Maybe you have hunt animals and you actually get to activate hunt animals because you have all these cards getting pouched here. I think pretty useful overall. I think the other main great thing about the map is having extra shift on the floor. This just allows you to get a worker back, which I think is an extremely strong ability. You can see it's strong because they've hidden it away behind all these rocks and upgraded build spots. I think that's very useful. So I think any start you get with like an archaeologist would be insane. Just play archaeologist, cover a border space, get a worker back. Can do that 2 or 3 times. Really powerful. The unique map reward of an instant card upgrade. This does allow you to get 5 upgrades. It's a bit of a weird one because you also have a card upgrade from getting your 3rd worker. So it does change conventional playstyle a little bit. Then you also have... So weird. So you have an upgrade from getting 1 uni, 1 partner zoo. From 2 unis and 2 partner zoos, you get an extra shift ability, which is interesting. From 3 unis, 3 partner zoos, you get 1 CP. Not a huge fan of that. But yeah, it'll definitely change how the game is played with all these extra shifts. It kind of wants you to stay in rounds for a long time. It does look good on paper. I'm not sure about it. This could definitely be the one that I'm most wrong about. At the same time, I said it before, I still think every map coming up is still really strong in its own right, so it's hard for me to rank this above everything else, but that's also due to lack of experience. I think it has upside, but maybe if your opponent keeps breaking and you can't use these extra shift abilities that well, then it doesn't really do much. I don't know. I think it can be decent. I mean, it's also a very open map, plenty of space for your large enclosures touching rock and water. It does have 5 money on the ground, a couple of X tokens, a couple of card draws. Like, it's got everything. The rep is a bit hidden away here, which is annoying. Yeah, 2 CP worker. I don't think it's ever worth going for 5 upgrades, but I mean, this upgrade could become clutch at some point in the game. So you really need to get cards upgraded. You just slam that upgrade and get it done. So I think it does have some use. On to number 16. Original Commercial Harbor. Definitely a downgrade from the alternative map. I think the biggest thing for me with Commercial Harbor is it feels so bad if you don't start next to the harbor. But when you start next to the harbor, there's really sort of no rewards in the immediate vicinity. In fact, the first reward that you're closest to is the clever, which you typically don't want to use early. So it feels kind of in a really bad spot there. But the ability to sell cards during the round, very useful. The problem with the original one is there's very few card draw spots. There's one here which you get reasonably early. There's one up here which you can start up there, but it feels bad to not connect to the harbor. If you're not starting up there, it probably comes in round 3 or 4 almost. It does have a lot of X tokens. The biggest thing is the ×2. This is always very useful to finish the game with, particularly ×2 on association. So that's a play pattern you'll see quite often. The 5 money down here feels really annoying to get to. Yeah, it has decent map strength, but everything just feels sort of out of place. The uni reward is quite nice. I think the distribution of 1 CP for partner zoos uni worker is not amazing. Having said that, a lot of the time you'll get 3 unis just with your final turn, get the 3rd uni there. Exactly, Robert, yeah. I can't tell you the amount of times I cover this early just because I need to place a building there. And it just gets wasted because I don't actually want to clever anything. That's something that does get fixed up in the alternative version, but it's in a much more friendly place. But we'll touch on that when we get to it. Number 15 is Tournament Map T1. This was a map specifically designed for tournaments. I think for WSBG in particular it was designed for. Thank you, Big Wolf. And yeah, I haven't played on this one. It hasn't come to BGA. Don't own a copy in real life. It also has a lot of interesting play patterns. So, firstly, we'll get to no snapping on as a reward. Instead, you get a card draw with this added effect. The added effect is at any time you can discard once per turn once per turn on your turn, you can discard one card to increase the action strength of one of your actions by 1. So it can definitely come in very useful. You just like 1 X token short, you discard a card, you have the X token, bam. You can do association at 5. Yeah, I know it was made for WSPG. I don't actually know if did anyone actually get to play it? Because I know I was speaking to BDW, and I think the option was open, but he never got to play it in any of the games, I don't think. So instead of snapping, it's got just draw from reputation range, so you kind of want to sit on high reputation to get more access to cards. But there's no reputation on the floor here. You do have a unique reward of 3 rep, which could be very useful in the sort of mid-game or towards the end of a game. You also get reputation for getting workers 2 and 3. Very interesting. It's also got the same split upgrades between University and Partner Zoo. It just feels like a kind of inoffensive map. I don't know, kind of lacks personality for mine. There's no real... I guess the main unique thing is this discarding a card for action strength, but it doesn't feel like it's got personality. In terms of power level, I mean, it's got 10 money, it does have marketing, has 3 card draws, 2 X's. It has a scavenging 3 spot here, which could be very interesting. I'm wondering how viable it is if you start with a really good hand to just slam down a 5 size here and get one of those cards back, or try to get one of the cards back. But yeah, it's kind of open. It's got a little bit of everything. I don't know. It just feels like a very mid-tier map. And yeah, split 1-1-1, not a huge fan of, but I do like the extra rep here. That definitely makes up for having no rep on the map. Yeah, it feels like one of the beginner maps almost. You get access to more money than most other maps. Got pretty decent rewards, yeah, just... I think it's pretty much in the middle of the range. Number 14, we have Original Research Institute. I think this map has 2 main benefits. First one being the university on the floor is the main thing. Just probably the... pardon me. Probably the best reward you can have on the map. Not really that useful if you have Archaeologist to get more unis, because often you need to get a university before you can play Archaeologist. But yeah, saves you a whole association action getting a university, so quite strong there. In terms of the original one, sorry, the second main benefit is the Research Institute power, which when you're connected here, just allows you to ignore 1 animal requirement for every animal you play, which, I mean, can be very useful, particularly if you want to start with something like a Muskox. You can just slam a 4 size here, play your Muskox, maybe release it round 1. So this has a lot of uses. It can get you up to some pretty crazy starts. You can also do things like New Zealand Fur Seal's a big one. Build a 5 size, get some sort of sponsor building touching the Institute, play your Fur Seal and get another worker in round 1. Exactly, round 1 Fur Seal's the big one. Yeah, it's also a rich map. You got 10 money, 2 X tokens. It's got very good rewards. I think the Too Clever spot... This is probably my favorite map to play in solo. in solo mode, which I do play a bit on the Steam version. Yeah, the Too Clever is insanely good for that. You just keep cycling your actions every break. Really strong. Also really good when you want to keep pushing the break. So you could definitely abuse this if you're playing Research Institute against other maps. You can just keep pushing the break and then have animals and associates ready to go for next round while your opponent can't keep up. That's definitely a huge use case for this. And also do like the 2 CP for Last Worker here. I think that's very useful. A lot of the time you can just finish the game with Association and Last Worker and just bam, 2 extra conservation points to cross with. Doesn't have too many problems with the map. So it's just sort of, again, middle of the range. I think there's a lot stronger maps, also a lot weaker maps. This would be the first one where I'm like, okay, this is actually a really strong map, and we're at 14. So I think every other map, including this one, I would consider starting to get into the quite strong phase. Number 13, we have Alternative Silver Lake. How many people get scared when they see all this money around the lake? It's a lot of money. It's, I've never actually counted it. It's 22 money. That's a lot. Sorry, that is right. That's ridiculous. It's 22 money. That's insane. And it's not like you miss out on other bonuses either. There's still card draws, X tokens, 1 rep marketing. It's got like every single reward that you want on a map. That's so much money. Given it's 22 money, I might have actually put alternative too low. Thank you, JD. I did know that the lake was 4 hexes. We actually had an Ark Nova quiz, and one of the questions was, how many hexes is the Silver Lake? And that's a question JD got wrong. I'm a bit surprised by that. But the alternative version, the thing that makes it a lot weaker from the original one is sort of the build 2 spaces. These are in a lot more annoying positions. So it's sort of a little bit awkward to snake your way through here. But it's got some nice open room. You get nice 5 size here touching rock and double water. 5 size up here, 5 size bottom right corner. Ooh, now that's a take I definitely don't agree with, Robert. Alt Park Restaurant better than Alt Silver Lake. No, I'm still a big fan of Alt Silver Lake. I think it should be higher than this, to be honest. I think in particular, the thing that Alt Silver Lake does better than original Silver Lake is playing around native farm animals here is so easy. Just really simple to just build a couple of things along the left side of your map and get like something like 8 appeal, 9 appeal. And yeah, the main strength of Silver Lake is the determination ability. It means if you're on this map against any other map, it's sort of like a ticking clock. If you both get to 99 points, but you have determination as a guaranteed 2 actions, you're going to win most of the time. So it's sort of on the other player to cross before you can sort of even up the score and then use this to have a bigger cross. And yeah, it's something that you can use every game. I also like the 2 Scipio on the 3rd uni. A lot of the times you can use your extra action to get last uni if you don't have money to play animals. And yeah, it just has so much money. It's actually ridiculous how much money it has. I think it should be a bit higher. I mean, 22 is more than the beginner maps, for God's sake. It's actually more than the beginner maps. Number 12, we have Alternative Research Institute. Maybe I'll swap these 2 around. But okay, it's exactly the same layout as original Research Institute. But they have changed one of the building 2 spots and just where the rewards are located on everything. So what I like in particular here is the card draw spots on the right feel nice. It's pretty easy. I find a lot of the time you just want to start over a card draw spot. So it's nice to build like a 3 size here, get a card draw. Otherwise, it's alright to also start at the top to get the Rep and X token, or you can start next to the Institute and get 5 extra money. That can be a big factor in helping you play those early animals, such as a fur seal, or maybe you want to play something like a saltwater crocodile in round 1. That's now doable with the 5 extra money here. I don't know. I think alternative is a little bit better. I'm not even sure this is the worst build 2 spot. It looks worse, but I don't think it is actually worse. If we go back to the other one, this feels a lot more awkward and restricting, this spot up here. They just moved it down here. I just like the layout a bit more. I think they're reasonably even in terms of power levels. And yeah, it's still the same main thing. University on the floor and ignoring conditions. But I think the 5 money spot's a lot nicer on this map. It can get you off to better starts. Number 11, ice cream parlors, original ice cream parlors. This is kind of what park restaurants dreamed it would be. This is sort of a map made on getting extra money, and the 3 kiosks gives you a lot more extra money than park restaurant does. You can argue that park restaurant can allow you to get the money sooner, but I'm not even sure that's the case. Because even like 2 extra kiosks can be a lot of extra money, and you get 2 very, very early on. Then it's also got better rewards, like 2 reputation on the ground is huge. Pretty easy to start with like Reese's Monkey Park here, get 2 rep, start with Science 2 rep University, you have an upgrade instantly. And yeah, the kiosks make it easier to fill map. It's still got 5 extra money, even though it doesn't even need more money. Marketing spot's pretty useful. It is a little bit annoying in this location. I do find some of the time, because you kind of have to, if you want to connect all the kiosks, you kind of have to build through here. So sometimes you don't actually have a sponsor to play. But it's obviously useful if you can play one. Yeah, here's the big negative about original ice cream parlors, the water, the separation of rock and water. This is a real pain if you have an aquarium. Because you can fit the aquarium in, and then you have maybe 1 more enclosure that can touch double water, and there's so many double water animals. Now, if you're playing Marine World on top of that, you want to fit in a large aquarium, you just have very little room here. Hello, Bernardo. So that is the main downside of original ice cream parlors. And having said that, even with this problem, it's still that strong that I'm rating it above every other map here. It just, yeah. Getting that much extra money is ridiculous. Like, your opponents on whatever map, your opponents on Research Institute won't be able to keep up with how much of a money advantage you have on them. Then I'm also a huge fan of the unique map reward of 2 pouching. You can pouch 2 cards during the break for 4 appeal, or 1 for 2 appeal. Very strong, just, it can keep your score ticking over. Even if you sort of don't find the best animals or projects, you can always convert those dud cards into points. So that always feels nice. It's good to get it early, but it can be difficult to get it too early. Oh, of course, if you have diversity researcher, then yeah, all your problems are solved. Oh yeah, original outdoor areas is coming up. I'm a big fan of original outdoor. And there it is, original outdoor areas. This one, you know what I miss the most? Just being able to start with a 2 size, bam, partner zoo. So just the fact that it's so open here, or even like petting zoo 2 size, it just allows you to get a lot of nice starts. You can get those 2 partner zoos in round 1, upgrade sponsors in particular, get out your explorer or talented communicator. Yeah, having this access to early partner zoo. Then it's also got fantastic combination with Archaeologist. One of the most broken combinations. Just play Archaeologist, get 3 partner zoos pretty easily, pretty quickly. That's the thing. When it was just on BGA with the original maps, I was kind of leaning towards the opinion that outdoor areas might even be stronger than Silver Lake. I'm not sure I don't still agree with that, as you can tell by the rankings, but I think they're pretty close in terms of power level. The partner zoo is such a big deal. Then the main thing about the map is the extra enclosure space. This is amazing. You can just get 2 size reward and have, bam, 4 size enclosure ready to go, 4 size enclosure ready to go. You build a 3 size and it's a 5 size ready to go. The main problem with original outdoor areas is there's no rock touching the gate. There's one rock here that you can make a 4 size or a 5 size and it touches the gate. That's a pretty big problem that does get fixed up with the alternative version. I think another kind of annoying thing is this marketing spot's pretty out of the way. Sometimes you start down here, but if you don't start down here, then it's a little bit of a pain to get to because you kind of want to build towards the partner zoo and then towards the gates, and this sort of gets left behind. Otherwise, still, yeah, very strong. Partner zoo on the floor, extra enclosures. Definitely don't need to upgrade build when you just have access to all these 4 size enclosures. Very strong. Number 9, we have Alternative Observation Tower. Yeah, hang on. Let's go back to the rankings. So Original Observation Tower, number 23. Alternative, number 9. It's crazy how a couple of changes in the map layout made this so strong. Because I've always rated the map ability of getting 2 extra appeal for every time you flip an enclosure next to the tower. That hasn't changed. It's just become so much better with the water here. You can now start with any animal there, flip an enclosure. If it has water requirement, not a problem. The map layout also just feels a lot better. This is such an insane map for native farm animals in particular. It's very easy to just sort of build around here, get something like 8 appeal for native farm animals, and then just leave the left side of your map uncovered. And that can get you 3 or even 4 conservation points at the end of the game. That's a very strong card with Observation Tower. And yeah, the map ability is really strong, just gets you a nice appeal lead, extra income from that. I'm a big fan of the marketing bonus. Just helps you score a lot of points without taking additional actions. Very, very powerful. And I think the layout here is pretty good. I mean, you have a rep in a reasonably early spot. It's an X token. The one thing I don't like, well, there's a couple of things I don't like. Firstly, the 2 conservation points for last partner zoo, not a fan. The card draw spot's pretty out of the way. I mean, you can build a 5 size here and pick it up. But it's not like other maps where you can just build a 2 size or 3 size and get a card draw. That can be annoying. And then it's also a little bit tricky to get double water spots. If you're not upgrading build, there's a couple, like there's a 5 size down here that's double water, there's 5 size up here that's double water. After you cover those 2 spots, like where do you put a sea turtle tank here if you don't upgrade build? It's quite tricky. A marine world sea turtle tank that needs 2 water. 4 size on the top touching the 3rd hex from the right is ghosted. What? 4 size up here, or like this? I don't mind this spot. Yeah, nice 4 size double water touching the tower. I do kind of like to start there. Typically I'll start at the bottom, but up top is nice for a 4 size. It's funny, there's actually, I think there's one, if you're not upgrading build, there's one really good aquarium spot, which is along the edge here. It's a sneaky one. It's one that often gets covered early because this is where your first enclosure goes, but that's a good aquarium spot there. But yeah, it just solves so many issues that the original observation tower had. And it's got a strong ability, it's just not hindered by the map layout with this version. Number 8, alternative outdoor areas. When the alternative maps were first getting revealed, I kind of thought this would be weaker than the original outdoor areas, but I'll say I was wrong on that. The big thing that this fixes up is the rock next to the tower, next to the gates, sorry. You can now have multiple enclosures, multiple big enclosures that touch a rock and get expanded enclosure size. That's a pretty big deal. It means you can play something like a white rhino over here and then a golden eagle over here. You don't have to sort of pick or choose which one you get. They have blocked off this partner zoo, which is not the biggest deal. It means no stupid two size starts, but you do have some sneaky combinations with the marketing spot on the right here, particularly with things like Okapi Stable, where it just sort of fits nicely between this gap. You can get this pretty early still. I remember one crazy game I had where I built, I forget what the exact combination was, but it was like Okapi Stable, like 2 size into Okapi Stable into like Adventure Playground to get Partner Zoo. And then I built a 5 size played European Bison round 1. Can do crazy things like that. But yeah, it's also just nice and open at the bottom now. The original one had a water spot down here blocking it off. Now you can just build all the way through, which can be nice because you sometimes want to start down near the rep. Just feels much... Just the placement of the rewards feels more coherent in this version. Yeah, also water touching the partner zoos is actually a really underrated addition as well. Not only for Hippo, but there's been plenty of times where I just want to build a 2 size here and play a Flamingo or something, and I can. But it's something that you couldn't do on the original. If you started with the water animal and you wanted to 2-2, there's no water spot up there. Sea turtle tank bottom left. Yeah. Double water spots can be a bit annoying here. There's one good aquarium spot around here. There's a kind of an awkward one around here that either doesn't touch the marketing or kills your your outdoor area gates. But overall, I think it is an improvement on the original and still very strong because of the partner zoo and its extra enclosure size. Number 7, alternative ice cream parlors, 7A. Again, big problem with the original ice cream parlors, no water. Something that's fixed up. There's a water on the left-hand side. It might not look like a huge deal, but I think it is. Because you can put your aquarium here now, you can get your 5 size touch in double water, and now you can still fit like a large aquarium over here for all your fish. So I think that's a pretty big addition. But I think the other... No, this is by map strength. It's a little bit by enjoyment as well. No, probably not. Large aquarium start on the left side, yeah. I'm more of a right side starter. I think the number 1 change is the marketing spot on the right side of the map. The old one, it used to be right in the middle, sort of annoying to get to. There are so many games where I just start first enclosure on the marketing spot. Just very useful for getting into a nice early start. Especially if it's a sponsor building, super easy to cover the marketing and then get bam 1-2 kiosks very early. Still got the 5 money down here, which is nice. Still got the 2 reputation. They have made them a little bit further away, so it's a bit more annoying. It's also got a great starting spot at the top right, where you just get a card draw and an X token, and maybe a kiosk if you build a 5 size here. So it's basically as strong as the original, but then it's also fixed up the problem of not having enough water in the late game. It's like the perfect combination now. I think the one thing that the original does have over the alternative is the original had an extra clever bonus, which got taken away, but I think the trade-off here is more than fair enough. Yeah, exactly as Panda said, the clever that used to be on ice cream parlors. But the old one is a little bit far back. The old one was sort of in a bit of an annoying spot. I don't know. I still think the alternative is a much needed, well, not needed, but a much bigger improvement on the original. Number 6, Alternative Commercial Harbor. This is, when we're looking at all the alternative maps, this one, maybe Observation Tower had the biggest improvement, but Commercial Harbor's the closest behind it. This feels so strong to play. I think the main thing is they got rid of this stupid 5 money in the corner, and they just replaced it with more card draw, which is what the map is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to draw more cards and sell the bad ones. So now starting next to the harbor feels really, really good. You get the card draw instantly when you connect to it. You have all these card draws so close. Another huge improvement is the marketing spot up here. This can be gotten relatively early, and marketing is probably one of the strongest abilities in the game. So the fact that this got added to the original one as a big improvement. The reputation is a little bit annoying to get to sort of out of the way because you do want to start next to the harbor, but not the biggest deal, I don't think. I think, yeah, the 4 card draw is actually such a crazy number of card draws. It's ridiculous. You can see they also did move the clever away. This is a much nicer spot on the right. You usually want to start over the left, sort of build your way up to the rep or the marketing, and then later in the game, if you're not upgrading build, you just work your way around here to get the ×2 in the last round. The clever comes at basically the perfect time. You want to be clevering towards the end of the game, and this is when you cover that spot. Interesting take, John. There are no bad cards, just cards you don't want right now. I think there are plenty of bad cards. But on Commercial Harbor, there's no bad cards, because any bad card you just sell. When you're playing this against other maps, you have a lot of staying power in the round. Just being able to sell cards sort of nearly forces the other player to cause breaks. But then you also have the marketing, which helps you with early game tempo. Then you have the ×2, which helps you with late game tempo. So it's sort of a very well-rounded map. It's got just everything. And then the last uni for a bigger final cross is always nice. Number 5. Now we're getting into the ridiculous maps. Lagoon. This is my personal favorite. I've only played it 3 or 4 times, I would say, but it's easily my favorite out of the map pack 2. And I think its power level is ridiculous. And I know a lot of people will disagree on this, but I am convinced this is overpowered, or at least extremely strong. So let's talk about the sort of map ability, which is, this map is based around finding person sponsors. So the first thing is, every time you unlock a worker, you get a person sponsor card from the deck. When you think about person sponsor cards, there's very, very few bad ones. I think the worst one might be Engineer. Maybe Expert in large animals, Expert in small animals. Those are pretty much the 3 worst ones you can hit, I think. Maybe someone correct me if I'm wrong. But out of like 30 of them, 30 person sponsors, there are so many just amazing ones. Explorer, Talented Communicator, Geologist, Hydrologist, Diversity Researcher. Those are like 5 ones you'd really want to hit. Then you also have project relevant ones. Say there's the base projects are Asia and Primates. You can hit Expert on Asia, Primatologist. These are all person sponsors. So you have a good chance of just hitting relevant, powerful sponsors. A very good chance. I'll get to this bonus in a sec. The other thing is, at the start of the game, when you get your first worker, just when you're getting your original cards, you also draw a person sponsor. So you get to see 9 cards at the start of the game, and you get to keep 5 of them. And you don't even have to take the person sponsor, you just get to keep 5 cards. So that's already getting you off to such a good start. Yeah, victory column is not a person, it's a column. Then the other thing I really like about this map is the shark attack ability on the floor. So shark attack is a marine world ability where you eat something, you eat an animal from your reputation range and you get half the appeal rounded down. So little pop quiz, how much appeal do you think you can get in turn 1 of the game? Because I've actually calculated this out. How much appeal do you think you can get in turn 1 of a Marine World game? Because it's going to be a lot higher than anyone thinks. 11? You can get more than 11. I mean, we'll cover this unique project reward, which is player person sponsor money for free. With other marketing, you have to pay for the sponsor. This one, you get to play any strength person sponsor for free. You're already getting these sponsors from just getting extra workers. Now you can play them for free. So that's also insanely good. The issue is you might run out of person sponsors, which I can see being a problem. But the fact that you're just getting them from workers means I would hate to play this in like a 4-player mirror matchup. Because all the person sponsors are going to get drawn out of the deck. Okay, it's not 30. You can get 14 appeal in turn 1 of the game. So, JD, the thing you're missing out on is if you are the 4th player in a 4-player game. You start with 3 appeal. You build your large aquarium here with pavilion build. You get 1 shark attack on an African elephant. So that gets you 5 appeal. Then you wave away, so you get something else in folder 1. Then you build your pavilion up here for another shark attack. You eat a mandrill, you get 5 extra appeal. You can be on 14 appeal after turn 1 of the game. Okay, you do get 11 appeal from the action, but you would finish the first turn on 14 appeal. That's kind of absurd. But that's obviously a kind of ridiculous scenario where you're getting the maximum shark attack value in turn 1. Just the fact that you're threatening this at all stages of the game, a shark attack. How annoying is it going to be for your opponent to deny every elephant or tiger or mandrill that they see? If they leave them, you just get to eat them for 4 or 5 appeal. If they take them, they're wasting card draw actions. It feels really annoying to have to counteract this. Then you also have some control over the display with these wave abilities on the ground. It's got 5 money, it's got some X tokens. It doesn't even feel that cramped. Like, you have 5 size spots all around the map. Got a nice aquarium spot on the right. I think this map has everything. It's got the shark attacks give it a pretty high floor, and then it's got a massively high ceiling with the person sponsors that you get throughout the game. Because these can be game-changing, and they're much higher odds than Hollywood Hills. Exactly. Even 5 appeal can be ridiculous in round 1. Just the amount that increases your income is absurd. And there's going to be a lot of times where you're just first player and you can just build a petting zoo here and eat something from folder 2 that's worth 4 appeal. That's a perfectly fine start. Great start. Yes, the thing I forgot to mention, archaeologist as well, yeah. It's a little bit awkward to build around it, but yeah. It gives you 5 shark attacks if you have archaeologists and cover all the border spaces. Sorry, 6 shark attacks? That's ridiculous. 6 shark attacks. Oh, you played against it yesterday in real life? That's fun. I do wish that I had the map packs in real life. They would be fun to play. True, it can be even more if you're including cut down ability, but I don't want to think about that. Number 4, we have Original Silver Lake. How many people see this and shudder? I have some nightmares about this. When you're playing against archaeologists in particular on this map, it's not fun. It's just unfair. Archaeologist triggers on border spaces of the map. Original Silver Lake has 7 of them. That's a lot of triggers. You can use it to get tons of reputation. Actually, in a solo game last week, I'm not even exaggerating, I played 4 sponsors in one turn using Archaeologist and marketing. And I got a massive score of like 200 or something from the Steam solo exhibit. Yeah, that's one card, but it's still, we already touched on it with the alternative Silver Lake. It has so much money around it. The main benefit of original Silver Lake is the no build spots are just nicely tucked away in the corner here. So you can very easily play this without upgrading build. Like, look at how open this is. 5 size, 5 size, 5 size. You can fit about 6 5 sizes here without any problem. Yeah, it's also got 2 reputation, which is something they took away one of the reps from the alternative because 2 rep is way too strong. Ridiculous amounts of money, marketing, X tokens, card draw. It's got everything, and the cherry on top, determination, ability to close out the game. Just far too strong. Yeah, if you're playing this when it's not same maps, you kind of have to rush the Silver Lake player, or they're just going to beat you with determination at the end. Hey, I enjoy my solo challenges. Oh yeah, I mean, archaeologists should be banned if people have Silver Lake. So I think most people know that Silver Lake is just very strong. On to my most hated map next. Rescue Station. Now we're getting into the also ridiculous maps. This map is just Project Heaven. Also known as the digging map. When you cover these spots on your map, you get to dig a card from your hand or from any spot in the display like a normal digging action would. And it gets tucked under your board. And those icons count in your zoo. So if you want to support Americas at 2, you just build a 1 size or whatever enclosure, you dig away an American bison, and you have 2 Americas tags. So it can lead to a lot of ridiculous starts. Even if you don't get a ridiculous start, you're basically always guaranteed to have a project to do in round 2. A lot of the time, you can have a project to do in round 1 that's unstoppable. Even if you don't get that, just throughout the game at any stage, you're threatening to get 5 CP on projects very easily with these extra icons you get for free. Exactly. There's so many use cases, like not even a bison, but an elephant for double tags, a dugong for double tags, a saltwater crocodile for double tags. Just so many double tag animals that it's problematic with. Then also, yeah, the most ridiculous thing, you dig an elephant, you can now flock 4 size kangaroo with it, even if you have no enclosures. Yeah, exactly, Flocking should not work like that with digging map, but it does. Two CV for last worker. 2 rep as a map reward is okay, but yeah, just the fact that it lets you do so many projects with ease makes it problematic. Because projects are a large way of how you win a game of Ark Nova, and this just guarantees you have projects to do. Yeah, that's the other ridiculous thing. It does trigger stuff like aquarium, so you have a meerkat den or something, you start digging away herbivores, you're getting 2 appeal every time you do it. Oh, I actually don't know how it works with reef animals. I feel like it wouldn't work because you don't get to activate the animal ability. Like, you don't get to dig an elephant and then get 2 endgames to choose from. We'll see. I don't think it's stronger than Map Zero. I mean, when you look at these, the beginner map, I don't know how you can really compete with this. This is still stronger than Rescue Station. We're getting on to the truly silly maps now. Map Zero. This is what you give your friends when they've played 1 or 2 games. Let's look at the rewards on the floor, which is the main thing. 2 reputation. 2 reputation. You can guarantee. Well, okay, it's hard to get these in round 0, but it's very easy to get a second worker very early on. It's very rich. 5, 5, 10, 20 money on the floor. 3 card draws, 3 X tokens are clever. Then we're also getting to the other project reward of a conservation point as income. That has insane value. A conservation point is worth something like 8 or 9 money, depending on how you want to look at it, compared to 5 money or a 2 size, which is technically 4 money, or a card snap, which is something like also 4 money. So getting that as income is crazy. Also instant, by the way, so it can help you get the 5 and 8 CP rewards much sooner. And yeah, just the amount of extra money you get very early on in the game can enable some wacky stuff. And then yeah, it also has the problem with archaeologists. Bam, 2 rep and 10 money. Card draw and 10 money. X token and 10 money. 5 money and 10 money. Just insane amounts of money. Pretty open layout as well. Very beginner friendly, which is what you would expect. And number 1 most busted map, the first map. Map A. This is what you play for your first game of Ark Nova. It looks more familiar with the 3 size and kiosk here. When you start a game on BGA, that doesn't show up in the map selection, but you do start with a 3 size enclosure and a kiosk, which is probably just as well. Otherwise, everyone would just rush over here and get the worker on the ground instantly, which is still a problem if you have a side entrance, because you can just side entrance over here and bam, there's another worker. Also have the problem with archaeologist, getting the rep and worker, or rep and 10 money. X token 10 money, X token worker. Same 1 CP income reward. Also didn't touch on it with the other map, but you get 2 CP bonus for last worker, 3rd uni, 4th partner, so just 2 for all of them. So you're getting more CP from any other map than you should. And yeah, you also start with the bonus 3 size enclosure that's touching rock and water, so you can play basically any 3 size or less animal in there to start the game with. Good opportunity to advertise, yeah. So the next Ostrich Olympics, which starts, I guess, tomorrow, or maybe in a couple of days, is with the beginner maps. So I will not be participating in that. I have no interest in that craziness. Don't think too much else to touch on. So these are the 25 maps ranked in order. Yeah, if you voted for those settings, you have to participate. So let us know in the comments, for those watching it later, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Which ones did I get wrong? If I were to change it now, I'd probably put Caves a little bit higher, Alternative Silver Lake a little bit higher. I wouldn't change too much though. I think I'm pretty happy with this list. I'd also like to put Drawing Board as the worst. But yeah, just a bit of a change for a Friday, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That's all we have planned, so thanks all for watching, and I don't know, I think we'll do something a bit different next Friday as well. Just take a break from the replays for a couple of weeks. So yeah, also let me know if there are any suggestions for the next Friday, because there's a lot of topics that we could cover. I think map 1 doesn't have too much strategic relevance, but sort of fun to see everything in a list. It was fun to make the list as well. Had to think pretty hard about it. Yeah, thanks all for watching, and we'll see you guys on Sunday for the BGA gameplay. Have a good one.